Good morning. Welcome to Exploring Economic Development with MEDC. I'm Meredith Harris, your host, and we are very excited. As you can see, we are on location this morning to bring you a panel of folks to talk about a really exciting thing that's going on not only here in Marlborough, but also in Franklin. I'm not going to give it away quite yet, but episode 56, episode 55, we talked about downtown pop-up shops with Lindsey Jaworek from the MEDC. If you missed that episode, please make sure to go back and check the replay. We gave a lot of great information about the sheds this year. They actually just opened this past weekend. It was not the best weekend for the pop-ups, but please make sure to come out. They try to open as much as they can. And if you haven't seen them yet downtown, they got a really cool facelift. So that was exciting for us this past weekend. So that was episode 55, but today we are excited for episode 56, where we are going to be talking about the MetroWest Regional Fan Zone. And so for folks that don't know what that means, that is FIFA is coming to the United States, coming to Massachusetts, and we are going to be hosting a watch party here in Marlborough alongside our friends in Franklin as well. So we're calling it a regional watch party or regional fan zone. And we're excited to talk about that today with some of our partners that have been really instrumental in bringing this to our region. So without further ado, I'm excited to introduce our first segment of guests. I have back with me again today, celebrity Lindsey Jaworek from the MEDC to talk about the Marlborough Fan Zone, and then also Stacey David from the MetroWest Boston Visitors Bureau, who has been kind of our umbrella, helping us really organize this entire regional fan zone. I think I keep saying watch party. It's a little bit of everything, right?
It's a little bit of everything.
Right. So thanks so much for joining us today. Lindsey, if you could quickly just introduce yourself for anybody new that's watching. I know you've been a guest a couple times not this year and many years, but let everybody know at home who you are and what you're doing here.
Always happy to be back. Thanks, Meredith. I can't believe it's episode 56.
Crazy.
The first episode was my first week at MEDC.
We just really threw you into the water there.
It always blows my mind when we hear the number. Lindsey Jaworek. I am the Director of Business and Community Development at the MEDC. So we help keep the small businesses and our hospitality businesses and sports tourism at the forefront of what we're trying to do.
And sports tourism, that's a big piece of what we're talking about today. So thank you for leading the charge on that for us here in Marlborough. Stacey, a little bit about yourself. And I think this is actually your second time on the podcast as well.
It is.
So remind everybody, who are you? What's your organization? And what's all the fun stuff you've got going on?
Yes. Thank you for having me back. We had a blast the last time that I was here. I'm Stacey David. I'm with the MetroWest Boston Visitors Bureau. I'm the executive director. We're a small nonprofit, but we are the Regional Tourism Council. We are one of 16 in Massachusetts, and we are the RTC for MetroWest. So we have 19 towns. Marlborough sits sort of in the heart of it. We run from Franklin on the south. So Franklin is here today as well to talk about what we're doing. And we run all the way up to Hudson on the north. And we are basically a north-south corridor that sits between Worcester and Boston. Our job is to really market the region. Yes, to residents and the things that we have going on, but more importantly to visitors, to bring, from an economic development standpoint, to bring new money into the region. And so we market anywhere from our sort of neighboring towns in Massachusetts, but we go all over New England. We even do some international marketing. So we are really striving to drive people and money into the region. And World Cup and everything that's coming with that is an exciting part of what we're doing this year.
It really has been. It's been kind of like drinking from a fire hose the last
It
few
has.
weeks.
It has.
And we'll get into some of that and kind of how we landed here. And I'm not going to say the bumpy road that we've had to take to get there, but it's been a little bit of a roller coaster to figure it all out.
It has. It's been, I think, a little more complicated than all of us expected. And I think that's what happens when you get involved in what is truly an international event. FIFA World Cup is the largest sporting event in the world. I think the U.S. doesn't have the kind of diehard soccer fans nationwide that some other countries do.
Right.
I think from a U.S. standpoint, people often think that the Olympics is sort of the largest world stage for sports. And the Olympics is certainly huge, but actually World Cup is the most watched sporting event worldwide.
So tell us a little bit, let's dive into that a little bit more. So It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's a big
huge
deal.
Yeah.
But like, why is it such a big deal? And is it because it's internet? Everybody's involved in it. Like, how many people are we expecting to come? And how did Boston get in the fray? Like, how does this all come to fruition? Why is everybody so excited about it?
Well, I think it's a number of things. I think not only is historically World Cup the largest sporting event, this is actually the largest World Cup they've ever had.
Now, why? Why is that?
And that was a FIFA decision.
Okay.
You know, I was not privy
You weren't
to that
part of
decision.
that?
I was not part of that decision.
Fair enough.
But they actually added more games and more rounds this
Okay.
year than they ever have. It is also the largest geographically. So historically, it has been sort of like the Olympics is, where it's sort of a city, right?
Okay.
This year, there are 16 different cities involved in
That's
3
wild.
different countries. So
Wow.
Canada has a couple of locations, Mexico has a couple of locations, and then the US has the majority of them. Boston was lucky enough to win a bid.
Okay.
It is being hosted at Gillette, and I say that in parentheses, stadium, because they are actually renaming it to Boston Stadium for the duration of the games.
Right.
We have 7 games coming to Gillette.
Wow.
It is not like 7 Pats games in a row. It is like 7 Super Bowls in a row.
Right.
So it is a much larger event than I think an actual, you know, a normal, if we want to call it normal sporting event might be
Right.
in town. They are expecting that we could get 2 million visitors to Massachusetts for the games.
Right.
And people, interestingly enough, diehard fans travel in packs.
There's
Scotland,
like a whole culture.
it's
around
a
it,
whole
right?
culture, right?
Yeah.
So like Scotland has a couple of games in Boston. They call them the Tartan Army.
Okay.
So the Scotland fans are enormously involved in this, super excited. They are coming in droves, even if they don't have tickets. And that, I think, is what
That's where
makes
we
it
come in, right?
different.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what makes it different than a typical sporting event, right?
Right.
So even if you had a Pats game and an away team comes, you're not coming if you don't have tickets.
Right.
Why would you come?
Right.
This is very different. So we have people who are coming just to be part of the excitement, whether they have tickets or not. Tickets are a lottery system. So
Right.
sometimes a family might apply for 5 tickets and they get 3.
Right.
But the
So
whole family 5
what are
is
the
coming
other two
anyway.
going to do? Right.
They're coming to the regional fan
That's
zone, Meredith.
right.
That's why they're coming. So we are, I mean, that is part of what we are hoping in
Mhm.
terms of what, you know, people that are coming to the fan zone will be those people who are coming for a game
Mhm.
at the stadium, either because they're coming on a day that is not their game day, right?
Right.
So we have the fan zones operating on non-game days as
Right.
well. So we're hoping that they'll come, hang out, have fun, and then go to the game the other day.
Right.
But we're also hoping that we catch all those people who are just coming to be part of the excitement, and we're giving them some place to go.
Somewhere to channel their energy, right? And I think it's interesting too. So you touched on Gillette being turned into Boston Stadium. I mean, this has been a huge feat for, you know, our friends down in Foxborough. There's
Right.
been a lot going on down there, and we're looking to try to give people, just like you said, something to do even if they're not going to the game.
Right.
And we've been talking a lot, you know, from a business perspective about what companies can expect. I mean, we're literally the entire city, Boston and greater Boston, all the way out to here and beyond, is going to kind of be at a standstill, right? I mean, there's a lot happening.
There's a lot happening. There have been so many discussions on transportation, for
Right.
example. There are literally not enough rental cars in Massachusetts for the number of people who will be coming in and needing transportation.
Mhm.
That creates a huge challenge for the state in general on how do we handle that influx of people. There are going to be additional trains that are going on the little additional spur to Foxborough. So that will be part of it is commuter rail. There is new bus services that are, so Stadium Express is a new
Mhm.
bus service that they're doing that's direct from hotels to the stadium. You can only get on if you have an actual game ticket. So
Right.
you can't just go tailgate. They are very concerned about, you know, thousands of people just showing up to tailgate to be part of the excitement without a ticket.
Right.
And so they're also doing a lot to kind of prevent that,
Right.
right? So I will say from an average business owner standpoint, just be aware traffic will be heavier.
Yeah.
There will be some congestion. People might be a little cranky.
Work from
Um,
home if you can.
Work from home if you can. I would say, you know, avoid things on game days if you can
Yeah.
avoid things on game days.
Yeah.
But I also think that the state has done a tremendous amount of work to try to mitigate some of that
Sure.
impact.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. And I think it's confusing too. I mean, you're talking a lot about international, like folks that are coming over, they probably think Boston Stadium
Is in
is in
Boston.
Boston. It's
And
not.
it's not, and it's something that we have been trying really hard to communicate.
Mhm.
The naming decision was not up to.
Sure.
It certainly wasn't up to us.
Right, right.
It was not even up to Boston. It was up to FIFA.
Okay.
So FIFA made the decision that every stadium involved in World Cup is named after the
The
host city.
city. Yeah.
Right. And so that was their decision. If anybody has driven by the stadium recently, you will know that the signage has already changed.
Yeah. So like the Kraft group had to basically step aside, right? And
Yes. So
FIFA came in and they're running it from now.
FIFA
Yeah.
is running it from now. Kraft obviously is
Interesting. Sure.
involved because it's their property.
Right.
But yeah, the signage has already changed.
just
It says
interesting.
Boston Stadium. Like there's new signage everywhere. There's a lot that had to change. There was a lot of infrastructure that changed.
Right.
Down to the fact that World Cup games are always played on grass.
Mm-hmm.
Gillette Stadium is not a
Turf.
grass
Mhm.
stadium, so they had to rip out all the. It's not AstroTurf. It's whatever they.
Yeah.
It's fancier than AstroTurf.
Sure.
That is not my area of expertise.
That
But
sounds like the technical terms.
Artificial.
the artificial turf that is at the stadium was ripped out. Grass had to be put
Wow.
in. When World Cup is done, I believe they have to switch it all back again. Right.
Wow.
That's a major infrastructure that has to
Absolutely.
change. Right. So there's been a lot that has happened in Foxborough, and I know Kraft Group has been really involved in
Yeah.
that. But FIFA demands what FIFA demands,
Yep. And here we are.
And here we are.
Right. All right. So we hear Boston also they've got a lot of parties going on. There's different things happening. I know everybody was kind of like down to the wire up until last week of were people going to get licenses for their watch parties and, different things like that. Do you know, although we don't want to take the attention away from our fan zone, but is there other stuff? Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on kind of in Boston and
Sure.
around the state?
And you mentioned licenses. I think this is part of the bumpy road you alluded to,
Mhm.
is that some of that process has been so much slower and more complicated than people anticipated.
Don't we know it?
The licensing application didn't even open until December.
Right.
We were one of the first applicants. We were also, yay, one of the first ones to be awarded a license.
Right.
So as of a week ago, and I know things have changed, as of a week ago, there were 4 confirmed licenses. I believe there have been a few more.
15 or something like that, right?
So there were 17 who applied. I know a couple pulled out because they ended up saying,
how do we pull this
We
together?
can't pull it together.
How
Right.
do we do this?
So as of last week, I believe there were still 15 applicants in
Okay.
the pool. I'll be honest, I haven't looked at it this morning to
Yep.
know who got it in the last couple of days, but I do know that things have been being
Moving.
processed. Bossy in Natick,
Yep.
I know that they got a watch party license, which is really exciting. That's another MetroWest business. If you don't know them, they're a fantastic, huge pickleball
Yep.
facility, 100,000 square feet in Natick at the Natick Mall. They also have a sports theater, and so I
Yep.
believe that they are setting up additional screens
Awesome.
that they can show. So they're going to be doing some watch parties, which is very exciting.
I
in
think
the
like
region.
Apex is doing something. I'm sure.
I think there are some
Yeah.
smaller watch parties that
Yep.
are happening as well. Good for businesses to know if you are, for example, a sports bar
Yep.
and you already have Fox Sports and you already play games, you don't need a special watch party license
Right.
to play the games. So I do know that there are also a whole bunch of
Little
other
things happening.
little things happening
Mhm.
throughout the region. I know several of the hotels are doing things. I know the
Yep.
Hyatt in Marlborough actually will be playing all the games.
It's awesome.
I know Skybox and Natick will be playing all of the games. So there's
Yeah.
some smaller watch parties like that happening. There are also some events that are fun, World Cup related, but not actual watch parties.
Mhm.
So town of Westboro, for example, is doing some special soccer related events, and a lot of those are going to be accessible events.
Yep.
And so there's some other fun things like that happening around the region that are just, let's celebrate soccer.
Yeah.
And I think kind of back to your initial question of why are people excited? Soccer is accessible
Yeah.
in a way that some other big national like Olympic sports are not,
not.
right? Some of the Olympic sports are very much elite sports that
Yep.
are very expensive to get into, as well as require very specialized equipment or spaces to do them.
Mhm.
And so not everybody can do it.
Right.
Soccer, all you need is a ball,
Right.
right? A ball in a field,
Right.
set up your own
A
net.
net. Yeah.
Every kid can play soccer. Loads of kids do. They play it in the street. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't require anything. And so I
Well, it's
think
relatable too.
it's relatable.
Yep.
Exactly. I think it's the kind of thing that people worldwide, no matter who you are, can get involved and get behind.
Yeah.
And so I think we're trying to celebrate that
It's
also.
awesome.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about how did we land on a regional fan zone. I want to talk about Marlboro. It's my favorite thing in the world to talk about. But how did we land on? Okay, so why are we not doing individual fan zones? How did we land on doing a regional fan zone with Franklin?
So we've been working on this for over 2 years.
Wild.
It's yeah. So this started April 2 years ago.
Yep.
Um,
I do remember Lindsey bringing it up like eons ago and saying this to the exec, and we were all kind of like, yeah, okay.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
And it started honestly because the stadium sits on the border of MetroWest, like on
Right.
the border of my region. And I said, how can we not do something?
Right.
Right. For one thing, people who are going to the stadium, it's much closer and easier to stay in MetroWest than it
Absolutely.
is in
To
Boston.
stay in Boston.
It's
Right.
also much less expensive,
Right.
much easier to get to the stadium. How could we not do something? And so that's sort of how this started, was the how can we not do something, and what is
Right.
that something?
It's almost like once in a lifetime for us, right?
Right.
It
Yeah.
is. And so first we started having conversations with Boston World Cup, which is the official host organization in Boston. We started having conversations with them 2 years ago to say, what can we do?
Mhm.
How can we get MetroWest involved? How can we get people to stay and play in MetroWest when they're coming to the stadium? And so that kicked off the idea of our fan zone guide
Yep.
to basically say, hey, come stay here, right? It's right next door. And so that was kind of the initial conversation.
Right.
That then led to, well, there will be opportunities to get a FIFA Watch Party license.
Hmm.
At which point we said, why would we have a ton of tiny things if we could have a big thing?
A big thing.
And so we started having conversations with a bunch of different municipalities to say, would you like to host a fan zone?
Mhm.
And that we would be happy to kind of be the umbrella organization to spearhead it, to work with Boston World Cup
Mhm.
and to work with FIFA and to apply for that license and jump through some of those hoops so that every municipality didn't have to do that on their own.
Right.
And so we started with probably a half dozen different communities that
Yeah.
we reached out to and had initial conversations. That was a year or so ago. I was thrilled that when I first brought it up with Lindsey was like, of course.
Well, Marlboro very rarely says no.
You guys are amazing that way, right?
We're a
And
yes community.
you're a
That's
yes
right.
community. And I have to, not everybody is, and not
Yeah.
everybody has
Can
the,
be.
can
Yeah.
be. Not
Yep.
everybody has the wherewithal to say yes, or the infrastructure. I think you guys are a little unique in that you run a lot of big festivals annually anyway.
Right.
And so this, I think, didn't feel as daunting as it did to perhaps some others who don't do this on an annual basis, right?
Right.
And though this is bigger and slightly different,
Mhm.
it's not reinventing the wheel of Marlboro,
Right,
right?
right.
So you guys were I think one of the first to say yes.
Yeah.
And then Franklin was the second.
Right.
And so we did talk to a couple other communities who ultimately said they didn't feel that they could pull it off and do it justice.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we ended up with some smaller watch parties
Mhm.
that are, they're really excited to do them and they're excited to have them for their community. But I think we ended up with these two, which I think is also nice because we have sort of a northern one and a southern one, slightly different focus in terms of, obviously
What
the
it's gonna
games that we're
be,
showing
right.
and what's happening. But I think that what we've settled on has been a really exciting
I
idea.
agree. And it's been such a collaborative effort, which has been really great. And, I think you're right. We do events a lot in Marlboro, but this one seemed bigger than what we do typically. And so the idea that, Michelle at the Marlboro Regional Chamber of Commerce was going to jump in and help us out with this.
And she's been
Just
fantastic.
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 And, the MetroWest, we're going to talk about the chambers and their involvement as well, but Reyad from the MetroWest Chamber of Commerce.
Also fantastic.
Fantastic. And, Mayor Dumas jumped right in, president of the city council, Mike Ossing. I mean, everybody from day one was like, do what you got to do. Let's make it happen.
Right.
Which has been great. So it's happening.
It's happening. It's happening. And it's very exciting. And I think that it couldn't happen without the partnerships
Without
that we
everybody.
have.
Right. Right.
I think we know a little bit about a lot of communities because
Mhm.
we are regional, right? And I think we have leaned into other partners and experts
Absolutely.
around who then know more about specifics. So you guys obviously know Marlboro inside and out.
Hmm.
The team from Franklin knows Franklin inside and out. And then the chambers all have contacts, you know,
Yeah, they
and
pulled it together
they've
for us.
they've pulled it together.
Yep.
And I think that, you know, we've joked a lot in our internal meetings about, you know, such and such knows a guy, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
everybody
yeah.
knows a guy.
Everybody has a
and, right,
guy.
and we've been pulling in all the guys that everybody
Right.
knows to make this happen. And I think,
Right.
you know, it truly has been a regional effort,
It's been incredible.
which I've been so proud of. I think it's
Yeah.
been amazing.
Agreed. All right, Lindsey, we're bumping up, believe it or not, on our segment time here, but we need to know what is happening in Marlboro. What can people expect? What is this going to look like? Where is it? Give us all the dirty details.
So we are doing the first 3 days of the tournament
Mhm.
in Marlboro, so June 11th, 12th, and 13th. And that schedule really worked out nicely for us because the games being played during those days, we got a Mexico game, a USA game, a Brazil game, a Scotland game. So we really get some of those games that are important to our community, but also regionally, we think we'll have a nice draw for everybody. Where it's at our historic site, so Kelleher Field, which was built in 1939.
Such a beautiful venue.
It's a great venue. It's
Yeah.
enclosed, so it really gives us the ability to let people walk around the event site with a drink and
Mhm.
feel like their kids can be playing on the activations and they don't need to be, you know,
Hovering.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it really is just a great enclosed site. We think we can welcome everybody, keep it controlled for everybody.
How many people are you expecting each day?
I think we're hoping for 1,500 to 3,000.
Mhm.
I think is our sweet spot.
Okay. Where can these people park?
Yep.
I'm going to ask you all the questions. Where can they park?
So they
And
can,
I know the answers,
Yep,
but I'm going to let you tell us.
They
Right.
can park in the lot across the street on Hudson Street.
Okay.
They can park at Naven
Mhm.
skating rink. They can park at Marlboro High School, at Marlboro Middle School.
Mhm.
Those are, you know, the real designated lots. We partnered with MWRTA for their Catch Connect service, so we'll have signage. We're trying to get a lot of promotion out there on how to use that service.
Yep.
It is a walking distance. The site is on the Aspet River Rail Trail, so
Beautiful.
you can
Yeah.
really easily access the walking path from some of those parking lots.
In the garages downtown.
Yep, and then we have the garages downtown. We have teamed up with the Marlboro Boys and Girls Club that's
Mhm.
allowing some parking. So we have cherry picked as much
Many.
as we can, as
Yeah.
close to the site as we can.
Right.
But I think that those are our sweet spots.
And all of those parking
Mhm.
spots are listed in the Fan Zone Guide, which
Yep.
is online.
Yeah.
So everybody can get all that information.
Yeah,
online.
handicap parking is right on Jefferson Street.
There's a
Yeah.
dedicated handicap lot.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so if I want to go to this fan zone, what do I do today?
Reserve your tickets on
Okay.
Eventbrite.
Yep.
They're free tickets.
And we'll have a link to those tickets underneath
Yep.
this episode. Yeah.
So reserve your tickets. Tell your friends to reserve their tickets.
Mhm.
Think about what you can bring with you in your hands. So we're asking no bags, no coolers, no speakers, no tailgating equipment,
Mhm.
blankets, chairs, your kid's sunscreen. Those things can all come with you in your hand.
All right, so let's say that again. So if I
Yeah.
want to bring my blanket and
Mhm.
put it down on the field, much like movies in the park, with my chair, I can do
You
that.
can do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
You
awesome.
cannot bring a pop-up tent to put above you.
I
You
cannot bring a
cannot bring-
pop-up
Because
tent.
we don't want to.
I'm okay with that. Those are difficult to put up, and
Yep.
yeah.
And you know, in case we haven't said it, the watch parties are on a jumbotron, right?
Right.
So,
Yes.
right.
we're
I don't
not
think we have said it,
hovering
actually.
around a little TV, right?
Yeah.
We've got a giant jumbotron that is
Jumbotron.
going in each location. So I think part of what we're prohibiting is to make sure that it's
People
a really
can
good
see it.
viewing
Yeah.
event, right?
Yeah.
So that everybody can see it
Mhm.
anywhere on the field.
Right.
And I think that's what's exciting about the site is that it is a historic site.
It's so cool.
Used for, you know, some of the high school games. The Shamrocks have always played there.
Mhm.
And we've had a couple movies in the park there and some 5Ks, but we've never had a 3-day festival
Yeah.
at Kelleher.
It's pretty cool.
And I think that that's going to just be a really welcoming idea for the sports
Future
tourism
events,
groups, right? All of these other events that we can see the possibility of what can be done there.
All right, so if I get there, what's there? Is there, you said I can have a drink, I can walk around. Who's serving? What kind of food? What kind of vendors?
So we partnered, of course, with Woo Trucks, who's helped bring in some really nice food truck options throughout the 3 days. Our local loves, Zarape, La Shoe,
Wellies and Wemmies.
Wellies, Wemmies, yep. So providing drinks, some snacks there. And then
Lawson's Finest.
Yeah, we have Lawson's Finest.
I'm so excited about this.
Meredith's dog's name is Lawson.
They have been a fantastic company to work with.
Yeah,
and they're coming in as the lead beer garden
amazing
vendor there, which is going to be fantastic.
In the thought process behind that, right? Because some people might say, why did you go bigger, right? Because we're trying to draw. I think we'll talk about the grant in the next segment, but part of it was to draw from 50 miles out,
right?
Which a big, a vendor like that can really help us do that. I had to break the news to Lawson that she's not allowed to come.
Oh yeah, no
pets. I know, no pets.
She can watch it from home.
She can watch it from home. Yeah. That's right. She has her little Lawson's, dog toys, so she'll be just fine. But all right, so there's food. Is there going to be
artists, makers, the vendors,
you can buy things.
Nice marketplace. Again, shout out to Michelle. She's brought in some really nice corporate support that's going to allow some activations there. So we have the inflatable axe throwing and
kick
the soccer
walls,
kick
right?
We have soccer kick walls. We have soccer darts. We have, I think there's a basketball shootout game. There's a whole bunch of
cool
fun,
stuff.
Giant games that everybody can play, all free. As just
that's the other thing. I don't know that did we mention that the tickets are free?
Yeah, the tickets are free. So tickets are required, but free, right?
Free, right.
And I think that it's it's part of, again, just celebrating the community, making it accessible to everybody.
Right.
Come and be part of the fun.
And then the last thing I wanted to mention before we switch over to the next segment of this episode, but from a city standpoint, I mean, you and I have been involved in the department head meetings, and I want to give a shout out to the city departments as well, because it really has been a collaborative effort. This is a big undertaking. Again, Mayor Dumas, his office has been great in providing support. But what have those meetings looked like?
I will say, we're getting some ribbing that our motto, "We are a yes community," might be going a little too far sometimes. But I think at first it was intimidating.
For sure.
Right? Financially, manpower.
From a public safety standpoint.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then in true Marlboro fashion, we continued to say, we've got this. We can figure this out. We have the resources
come together
for this.
And I think what's helped has been breaking it down a little bit, right? Like not only in terms of, you're in charge of this, you're in charge of this kind of thing, but also just going step by step, saying what do we absolutely have to do to make it happen?
Right.
And then, what's all the gravy that we can throw on top to make it exciting and fun as we're able to do that.
Right.
And I think too, where we had a jump from, we started our site walks in October,
right,
to see what we had for power, bathrooms.
And there's been some great infrastructure upgrades that have happened at the field because of World Cup coming, but also because it's going to be great in the long run. Right?
Your facilities people are fantastic. I just want to give a shout out. When we did our site walk, everything they said, just tell us what you need.
Yep.
That's the way they roll.
Right. Which is amazing. Which is amazing, right? Like not everybody is like that. And so
we are very, very lucky.
They've been great.
Yes. Yep. All right. Anything I missed from a Marlboro standpoint?
Just come have fun with us.
Come down and
have
enjoy.
Fun with us. And I will say that you guys are actually showing one of the games that will be played at Gillette at Boston Stadium.
Right.
And so for anybody who doesn't have tickets,
this is a
but
great opportunity,
really wants to be part of the excitement, like this is the place to go, because you can say, I was there.
Right.
I watched it live, right?
Right.
And be part of that excitement, which will be really fun.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break because we're going to switch out, bring our friends in from Franklin and Framingham to talk a little bit more about kind of how we funded this whole thing, what's going on in Franklin, and the economic impact that's going to come to the region. So stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for segment 2, where we're talking everything FIFA World Cup regional fan zones here in Metro West. I'm joined by 2 new additions. So I want to welcome Reyad Shah from the MetroWest Chamber of Commerce and Shea from the town of Franklin. You guys want to tell us a little bit about your organizations, what you do, and how you were able to join us in this wonderful venture about FIFA World Cup?
Sure.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, Meredith, and happy to be here. My name is Reyad Shah. I'm the president and CEO for the MetroWest Chamber of Commerce. We just celebrated 130 years of being an economic organization in the area. Thank you.
That's incredible.
I haven't been here for all 130, but
Are you sure?
You look great.
but I intend to continue the historic value that we've been bringing to the region. That's from business opportunities, economic development, regional connections, and the power of connection, I think, for our small business owners, entrepreneurs, medium-sized, and employers of all sizes.
That's awesome.
That's great. Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Shea. I'm the Director of Arts and Culture and the Creative Economy for the town of Franklin.
That's awesome.
I know, quite a mouthful, right?
Yeah. So you're used to doing events and different cool things like this, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I would say the core of my work is related to art and cultural tourism. And then somehow the town of Franklin just fit this World Cup watch party mold.
And we've all been victims together in this situation.
It's a great project.
It's been a
It's
great project. It is. And I don't know that we really said it at the very beginning, but we've all been working together as partners, plus Michelle with the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce. And it has been a lot of fun. We honestly have had so much fun together.
We really have.
We have.
And I have to just give a shout out to say that all of your organizations have been phenomenal partners of ours over the years, right?
Yeah.
Like not just with this.
Not just today.
But I think that this has brought us all closer together. It's a little bit of the, in the trenches kind of bonding
Absolutely.
that has happened.
Trauma bonded, you mean?
I didn't say PTSD, but no, but honestly, I think that we've all been really good partners, and we as the Visitors Bureau value that partnership. Reyad and I have worked together really well for the last 2 years
Yeah,
since
2
you've
years,
been since you've been at the chamber, which is great. And since Corey's come on board in Franklin, I live in Franklin, and so Franklin arts and culture is near and dear to my heart, and we've worked together really well too. So it's been amazing to have such a great, strong group of partners on
Agreed.
An enormous project like
Right.
this, right?
And our worlds intersect all the time.
They do.
Corey and Lindsey were on a panel together last year too to talk about the pop-up shops. And so it's not
Right.
like this was the first time we were all getting to know each other, but it really has brought us all together in a very special way.
Very special way.
Very special way. All right. So we've talked all things Marlboro. We talked all about what is the importance of FIFA World Cup coming to Boston. What is going on in Franklin? Tell us about your event, what people can expect, same kind of rundown. Where can they park? What can they do? What can they eat? What can they drink?
Absolutely. So I think the most important, parking, right? Like, how do
Yes.
we get here? So Franklin has 2 train stops, which is fantastic. And actually, one of them we put a new public art mural on the side of. So the
Which is
Franklin
gorgeous.
Dean Station. Yeah, it looks so beautiful. So the train, and then also we have parking at Dean College, the Franklin High School, Middle School, the Franklin Senior Center, as well as ADA parking by the Federated Church in Franklin. So there's many different pockets to park in, which we appreciate that the DPW and other town departments have come together to help orchestrate that for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what days are your event? What games are you showing? Kind of what's the rundown?
Great questions. I'm like, I think I remember. No. Just the sport part of it. I'm art, but I love sports. So we're streaming on June 24th and 25th.
Okay.
So we're watching the Canada-Switzerland game.
Well, you can find it on
Yeah.
the MetroWest.
Yeah, it's
Visitors
all-
Bureau.
I'm like,
it's
it's all listed
there.
on the MetroWest.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been going over more of the fun related details.
Well,
of-
let's hear them.
Yeah.
Let's
okay.
hear them.
So beyond just parking, so you can park in Franklin.
Yep.
You can come, and we have activated inflatables. We have different arts and craft vendors.
Okay.
We have food vendors. We have a community beer garden that's set up at Haywood Manor, which is across the street from the Franklin Town Common, which is where
Awesome.
all of this magic is taking place.
Magic. I love that.
Right? It
Yes.
is magical.
It is magic.
The Franklin Town Common is just such a staple of the town, so it just feels fitting to have this world celebration hosted
So cool.
there. And then we're closing part of the Main Street down, which is the connecting property to Haywood Manor. So we'll have lots of space for people to come and watch the jumbotron, and have a beer, hang out with your friends. We have live music. We're encouraging a lot of families to come out and
Yep.
participate, just because that really falls in line with the rest of Franklin programming.
Love
We're
that.
big on coming out, sitting together with your family, and hanging out.
I
So
love that.
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I love that. And so I think we scratched the surface a little bit about kind of why did we all decide to do this together, right? How come you're not doing your event, we're doing our event? And I think a lot of it too came down to we were able to apply for the license together,
Mhm.
right? And then we were able to kind of apply for this grant together as well. So can we talk a little bit about the grant, the funding? This is where the chambers really came in to help us with some of the corporate sponsorship. So Stacey, can you kind of break down for us what did the grant look like? How did that all kind of break out? I know people have
Sure.
seen the number in the newspaper and what does that look like?
And I think, funding obviously is a huge piece of being able to pull something off. You have to be able to pay for it, right? I think both communities were very clear about the limits on funding for municipal investment. I think, Franklin in particular is very sensitive to that, having had a failed override in the last year.
Two failed overrides.
Two
in
failed
2 years.
overrides in the last year. And so we were trying really hard to create events that were free to the community, because I think both municipalities felt very strongly that these be free community events.
Right.
And so we're not funding it through ticket sales, right? Which
Right.
is normally how you would fund an enormous, expensive festival, is through
Right.
ticket sales. So we didn't have that as an option, really,
Right.
because that's not how we wanted this to roll. So we had to come up with alternative sources of funding. So we looked at a lot of corporate investment. So we do have some fantastic corporate supporters that stepped up to fund things like some of the activities and activations. So the giant inflatables that are expensive to run, we have a bunch of corporate supporters for all of that, which was
is
great.
what the chambers have really
Which is what the
Yeah.
chambers have brought
been
in.
huge.
Clutch.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riyadh, can you tell us a little bit, how has that been helpful to your organization too? I mean, this is great for the companies too, to be able to participate
And get the
in
visibility.
what
Yeah,
an
and it's fun.
opportunity. So what does this look like
Something
from
fun.
your end?
Yeah, no, it's been a fun ride for
Yes.
sure. And from our end, from the chambers, for the MetroWest Chamber of Commerce and also the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce, right? The two of us work hand in hand in trying to get the funding, the corporate sponsors, the
Yeah.
opportunities out there. And it's really being able to go to these organizations, small, medium, large, and say like, hey, we're going to do a lot of the in and out work and the finalized details and do the site walks and go out there and find the parking locations. And you just have to show up and engage with your community,
Which
of
is
your
awesome.
constituents, of your
Yeah.
residents, your potential consumers. Maybe your employees want to enjoy this opportunity as well. So you being able to say, hey, we have something going on for our employees to access
Right.
because we have taken a chance to be a part of something larger within the Metro West region.
Yeah, and I sit on the board of directors too for the Marlborough Chamber, and at the last meeting, it was really a lot of the other board members were saying, how do we get exposure? How do we get involved? How do we bring our business to the table? So I think it's been a great opportunity not only for the residents and for the communities that are going to come and watch the games, but for the business folks as well. This has been a really great thing to bring to the table.
And I think that the challenge that we ran into is that FIFA is extremely strict on sponsorship,
Big time.
right? So the other way that you fund a free community event is that you get a sponsor, right?
Right.
We were prohibited from getting as sponsors many, many, many companies. So every single sponsor had to be pre-approved by FIFA,
Which was crazy.
which was crazy.
We had to anticipate
Right.
who
So
we might
I submitted
ask.
a list of, I think, 40 businesses around the region. And we asked all of you all to say, who do you think might be interested in sponsoring, right? And we submitted that whole list to FIFA. And they came back and they said, no. We ended up with 12 that they had approved. And so we are only allowed to get as true sponsors those 12 companies, most of which are tiny mom and pops, right? And so we'd love to have them involved, but they're not throwing $50,000 towards this. They can't afford to, and we wouldn't expect them to.
Right.
And so we had to get creative in, okay, how else can we raise the funds?
Right.
So to Riyadh's point, being able to get small and medium businesses in, and we did that in a couple of ways, right? So one is to host these activities, which has been great. The other thing is as vendors, right?
Right.
And so we've got vendor booths available. And we were also being sensitive to what do we want the festival to look like? We don't want it to be 25 gutter salesmen. And that is nothing against gutter salesmen.
Right.
Somebody's got to sell gutters, but
Right.
but we wanted this also to be a really fun festival. And
Right.
so we did a lot of outreach as the Visitors Bureau, but also the chambers did as part of this effort to say, who can we have that could get involved, that could be a vendor. And so some of the vendor fees are obviously helping to support this financially and host the activities. And then you allude to it, and we skipped right to companies, and so I didn't talk about the grant, but we were very lucky to get a grant from the state. So they established a new sports and entertainment fund this year.
Yep.
That was a fund that was initially established with essentially leftover money in the closeout budget,
Yeah.
right? So at the end of every fiscal year, they sort of balance the budget again, and is there any money that was left over that was earmarked and not used? And so that is what initially funded this.
Yeah.
So it's not additional money that was taken away from anybody
Anything
else's state program. Because I want to be clear about that. It's not that as though it was something earmarked for something else that now lost out, right? Like this was in some sense leftover money. And the state, knowing that FIFA is a huge one-time thing here that we really wanted to support, and knowing that communities wanted to have these watch parties, but that they're very expensive to pull off, they established this fund. And so we have been lucky enough to get, we got a very large initial round one grant, and we will have an announcement hopefully later this week about a round three grant. The round three grants were specifically earmarked for public safety. So we have an enormous public safety expense involved in this, because it is unlike another other community festivals that might be small just for your community. This is not that intention, right? And so we have a much bigger public safety expense than we had, and so we did apply for a third round grant, and I'm very confident that we will have some good news to share about that.
But
And
also, don't forget, you applied to the local cultural council grant.
I did.
Yeah,
I
it
did.
wasn't just this one big pocket, that we were seeking funding for.
Yes, it's true. And we did. We were very lucky. We got 4 local cultural council grants from 4 different communities, Marlborough and Franklin being 2 of those. And they have helped support it. And one of the things that they helped support was the fan zone guide that I mentioned earlier, which has a 2-page spread on Marlborough's event and a 2-page spread on Franklin's event, with all those nitty-gritty details of where to park and what to do, and a map of it so people can access, and a schedule of events and all of that. It also has sections on sort of stay in place, so what else to do in the region to help boost economic development. It has information on the Stadium Express and transportation services and other watch parties in the region. So it's intended to again drive economic development and people spending more time and money in the region. And we were really clear about the fact that we were producing this as a guide in English, but we also wanted to lower barriers to entry. And so we have a Spanish and a Portuguese version.
And so, Reyad, your group has been instrumental in that piece as well. And,
They have.
like we said at the beginning and throughout, it has been such a group effort, and everybody has had like little pieces here and there that everyone's been working on. And you guys were really helpful in that sense. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And even just that we filmed a TikTok a couple weeks ago. Like we've had a lot of fun too, and just different things. So you guys have been doing some of that interaction. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that looks like?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it stems from the communities that we serve, right? And looking at that intentionally of who's going to be accessing it, who got a lottery ticket or not got a lottery ticket, who's going to be potentially going and parking and going to Boston Stadium or not. So thinking of that access point has been really, really intentional for us. We at the chamber, at the MetroWest Chamber, we are trilingual. So I do speak Spanish fluently. I have another staff member that speaks Spanish and another staff member speaks Portuguese. So that's intentional for us, for the region that we're in, for the small business owners, to explain and unpack what does being a vendor look like? What does sponsoring or not sponsoring look like at this event? And really being able to be like that aha moment while you explain it to them in their natural language. Be like, oh wait, there's gonna be,
I want to do this.
Yeah, there's gonna be people there. There's gonna be music. So thinking about the music and working with those localized bands that do perform in varying languages, I think is also intentional of what we all talked about. Of like the accessibility, breaking down barriers, creating a free event, right, is all within reason of what we should be doing as a region to drive people here to spend dollars, to be like, oh wait, they do really cool stuff. I should go there and stay there, and then go to Welly's for dinner one night, and then go to Pico for some homemade ice cream, and then get off at the train in Franklin and hang out for a couple hours, and then take it back to the city or wherever you're going.
And I want to kudos and shout out to Reyad and his team, because Reyad and Louisa and Angeli have been phenomenal. They did all the translations for
It's
us
incredible.
on
Yeah.
like a moment's notice, because we were down to the wire with getting some details in before this went off to press. So they translated not only all of the Fan Zone guide, which we will have printed versions and online versions
Right.
in Spanish and Portuguese and English on our website, and then out in the community, various places. They also translate signage for us. So the
incredible.
signage at the festival will be trilingual also, because again, we want everybody to feel welcome.
Right.
And whether
Absolutely.
you are a resident who the English is not your first language, or whether you are a visitor,
Right.
we want you to feel welcome and part of it. And we're showing, between the two communities, we're showing 2 Brazil games, which is unbelievable. So one in Franklin, one in Marlborough. We also have a Mexico game. Franklin also has an Ecuador game. So we've got
There's a lot
games
going
where we're
on.
drawing in a lot of these people who
Right.
English may not be their first language, and we
Right.
want them to know they're welcome and to know what's going on and to come and party.
All right. So with all of that, where can people find more information? Like I said, we've got some fun TikToks that are coming out, some little consumable content, but we're still looking for volunteers, correct?
We are, and we
Looking
still
for
have a few vendor
volunteers.
spots available.
Okay.
So Marlboro is pretty much full for activations, and they're almost at capacity for vendors. We could probably squeeze in just a few more. Franklin does have a couple of activation spots left available for those hosted activities, and we do have some vendor spots left available. So all of that information, vendor information, activation booth information, we also have the ability for local companies to put commercials on the Jumbotron,
Which is cool.
which is very cool. So in between games, the Jumbotron will be running the entire time the events are open. We're playing Just Dance, so people can get up and dance.
Yeah.
We've got music videos and sort of dance parties that are going. But in between that, we're playing some commercials. And
Yeah.
so there are ad spots available for local companies. So be aware of that if you're interested. All of that information is on the MetroWest Visitors site, which is metrowestvisitors.org/world-cup.
Yep.
And that site has some drop downs to it. You'll see drop down menus up at the top, and that has all of the Fan Zone information. The Fan Zone guide in English is already up live. The Spanish and Portuguese ones will be up today and tomorrow.
That's awesome.
And those are downloadable guides, but they're also flip books that you can just look at information. And then all the vendor information has fillable forms and information that's up there that people can get to also.
And we'll start to push out. I know the MEDC website. We just put the ticket link there this week. Thank you, President Ossing, for the advice on doing that. But the tickets are available. Again, we're looking for volunteers. I think we're finalizing what that form looks like. But if you're interested in volunteering, reach out. Let us know. We're going to be looking for folks from the community.
We'll
to
give you a
come
free
help
ticket
us.
to come
We'll give
see.
you a free
Yeah,
ticket
there you
to come
go.
hang out. That's right. And anybody that at home is watching, there's lots of public safety that's going on too. I want families to feel
Very
safe coming down. I know in Marlboro we have the UMass Memorial Hospital. Marlboro campus is coming down with their mobile unit. There's going to be the Board of Health is on site. We've got all kinds of stuff that's going on. We'll have an ambulance there, police and fire. So I want people to know that you can come down and safely enjoy the day as well. So I think we've covered everything. Did we miss anything?
No.
No.
I mean,
It's going to be super fun.
Yeah, I mean, get your ticket now before you can't get your
now.
ticket.
That's right.
Yeah.
There is a cap. There's a cap on the
There's
number
a
of
cap on
tickets.
the number of tickets, right.
And they're on Eventbrite, so I think you can probably just search on Eventbrite as
Yep.
well. But both ticketing links are on our website. I think you guys are also
Yep.
putting
Yep.
them out
Yep.
on your websites. We are also sharing that Fan Zone guide,
Yep.
which has the ticketing link in it. We're sharing that with a whole bunch of other organizations. So visit ma.com, which is the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. Their website is going to have links. Meet Boston, which is our neighbor,
Yep.
so the RTC in Boston, they will have links. We're also sending it out internationally through Discover New England and some of our other partners. So we're getting the word
We're
out
getting the
there.
word out
We're
there.
getting the word out there.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much for being
Thanks for
here.
having
Lindsey,
us.
thank you as well. And Michelle, who's not here with us today, but it's been a great effort. Everybody has really put their best foot forward. It's going to be an amazing event, not only in Marlboro, but also in Franklin for the region. This has really, really been a great thing. And thank you all for being here and for helping us pull it together and being a
It's been
guest here
amazing.
on Exploring Economic Development with MEDC. With that, I want to say thanks to all of our watchers that tuned in today. If you know anybody that's interested in coming to the Fan Zone, make sure you share this with them. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I want to thank our friends at WMCT TV for hosting us today on this on location episode. Hopefully we can do this again because it really was a lot of fun.
It was. And can I have one
You
more
can
plug?
go right ahead.
The last thing I will say is several companies are using this as a great team building activity. And
Good
they
idea.
are bringing 10, 20, 50 people as a group to the Fan Zone to just go have fun, unwind on a summer
Love it.
evening. So it's a good idea if you are looking for a great summer outing that is
Free.
Right.
That's
unless you
favorite.
want to buy your employees some food and drink, which we would love.
We would love for you to do that.
But you can certainly do that. And I will also say that I know you guys in Marlborough and you guys in Franklin have been great about saying, hey, if you want to literally bus a busload of people in, we will make it work in terms of finding some bus parking. So I think it's a great idea.
And
to
there's
use
still
that as
availability
team
at the
building.
hotels as well.
There is
so-
availability at the hotels. Marlborough obviously has a ton of hotels that we
do.
love to support. Franklin has 3 hotels as well. And so, we're happy. Reach out if you need
If you
help
need
in
anything.
booking anything. Happy to do that.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. And everybody
you.
have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in.